fried chicken. A lot of people know what's going on with Eat Real, so they know that it's good food for a good price.
And you think about 100,000 plus people interested in the same thing, which is eating.
People are food curious. They want to know more. Whatever it is they're buying from a street food vendor, to if they're in the craft marketplace, if they're doing one of our hands-on workshops, which could be learning how to make sauerkraut, or learning how to make cheese, or learning how to make jam. And this year, we've got a community bread oven, so people are actually learning to bake their own bread.
The festival's free of charge, very inclusive. And we, of course, all the foodies are here. Where else would they be? But there's a lot of other folks here too. And if you eat, you're welcome here. If you like good food, you're welcome here.
As far as our involvement with Eat Real, I think that's driven from the same thing that we've been talking about for a long time, which is how do we get foods that's sourced right and raised properly, grown properly in people's refrigerators and in their cabinets that's affordable. I mean, that's the big thing, and that's what this stands for. Everything's got to be sold for $5 or less. Corn that we're serving was grown right down the road. We're doing Naman Ranch pork, we're doing Bel Campo grass-fed beef for the masses to get exposed to it.
In addition to adding a little flavor, that creates a nice crust to the meat as it cooks and caramelizes.
We're very focused on good quality ingredients, supporting local businesses, focusing on craft vendors, so we've got a lot of small-scale food artisans here. And we also make sure that all of our vendors only have 2 or 3 offerings. We want to make sure that they focus on doing a couple things really well and don't try to be everything to everybody.
Eat Real Festival help a lot of small businesses for people to learn that they exist, what they make.
Outstanding. How do you make this dough?
With a lot of love. How are you, dear? They wrote about us, they Facebook a lot of stuff, and that's how people get to know what you're doing and hire to cater or to do their events.
Many of the vendors at Eat Real have written to us to say that we saved their business, or our sales encouraged them to stay in business for another year, that then became another year and another. So that's a long-lasting impact. At Eat Real, the sponsors really tap into the DIY, the enthusiasm, the fact that people are here looking for a full day of fun. So activities for kids, learning stages, that's what they can really do to thrive at the festival.
Go easy on the chili powder.
We have 100,000+ people who come to Eat Real. We had 30,000+ at our first festival in LA, and people just feel really connected to the message that many of our partners have.
One of the missions of Whole Foods Market is to change the future of food. And when you have kids growing their own food, learning how to cook, learning how to make tofu with Poto soy, to learn from those producers changes the way people eat.
If you want it firmer, you go for the greener one.
To learn what the ingredients are, to learn where things come from, it's a huge win for us. And so I think when you're talking about where the food movement will be years from now, Eat Real Festival is a huge player in that.
People are having fun and they're talking about the different flavors and talking about the different techniques, as well as where does this stuff come from and how is it raised in terms of the animals that they're eating. So everybody's getting down on this great food and taking home a better understanding of what this means.
We're definitely looking at expanding the market, not just LA again in 2012, but perhaps New York.
Each year is getting better. If it wasn't for Eat Real, a lot of little businesses will have a spot to showcase their food once a year.
People feel an enormous amount of loyalty, and they are really groupies to Eat Real. They come every year, they're super passionate and feel embraced by it, which is terrific.